Yes, so welcome guys to another episode of wildlife, and today we are at Stedmak Gardens, and I'm sitting out with one Mr. Saruni, one of the animal guides. Maybe Mr. Saruni unaweza tusalimia kidogo.
Okay, thank you. I'm greeting you. Thank you for this opportunity, for giving me an opportunity to talk about wild birds, different species of wild birds in Stedmak Gardens. So I appreciate for this time. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Sasa, today we are going to talk about which bird. So we have a variety of birds. Up to how many species of birds?
Inside here we have around 5 species of birds, but we have around about 20 species of pigeons. But for the wild games, included the domesticated pigeons, we have around 5 species of birds. But today, specifically, we are going to talk about the Vulturine Guinea Fowls.
The Vulturine Guinea Fowl.
Yes, the Vulturine Guinea Fowls. A Vulturine Guinea Fowl is just a wild bird that
That's the example of a vulture.
That's an example of a Vulturine Guinea Fowl.
Okay.
So, this Vulturine Guinea Fowl, you see it has 3 names. We have the vulture, we have a guinea, and we have a fowl. All those names means there's a specific meaning of those names. For example, if I may start from the vulture, it's called just a vulture because that bald head of his resembles that of a vulture, most of the lambert vulture. A guinea is the current country of origin of that bird.
So it's from Guinea.
So it is from Guinea-Bissau.
Okay.
A fowl is just a wild bird that was domesticated just purposely for laying eggs. So it means in the country of origin, that's Guinea-Bissau, it was first domesticated just to lay eggs, but it was a wild bird. But now, because birds have long horn and short horn, flyers, just like aeroplanes, you see now birds are migrating from one country to the other country. So because Kenya is lying alongside the equator, so you see most of the birds migrate to Kenya and settle alongside the equator because of undisturbed nature, plenty of food, and that's why now you see them coming now and colonizing the mangrove, savanna, grassland, forest. Now that's why you find plenty of birds alongside the equator of Kenya. Now for the Vulturine Guinea Fowl, in Kenya, most of the time you find them in Shaba National Reserve. Most of the time they call it land of God and devil.
So where is this land found specifically?
The land is found in Samburu. And they call it land of God and devil because the land receives very minimal amount of rainfall. But after receiving that very amount of rainfall, the land turns into a paradise. And that's why they call it land of God and devil. So if you find an animal surviving in Samburu, maybe Shaba National Reserve, which is a desert, then it means this Vulturine Guinea Fowl, it can able to stay for 6 months without drinking water. That's because its digesting system is in a position of regulating water or absorbing water from the food it feeds on. That's why most of
it can stay for
6 months without drinking water.
Wow.
Yes, and that's why you can find them in dry lands like that of Shaba. But now you see is among also they say it's believed to be the most intelligent fowl amongst the fowls. Now the Vulturine Guinea Fowl, because we have the Vulturine Guinea Fowl and the helmeted Guinea Fowl in Kenya, but we have other different species of Guinea Fowl. But now specifically we are talking about the Guinea Fowl that we have in Stedmak. So for this Guinea Fowl, in birds, most of the time the people they say you must look at the bird with the most beautiful plumage. But for the Guinea Fowl, it is hard for you to differentiate whether it's a male or female. Because the color is the same, apart from the size. So you have to look at 2 things for you to differentiate between a male and a female Guinea Fowl. The larger one is a male one, then the middle one is a female one. You also look at the small feathers on top of that bald head. When the hairs are many, the feathers, I mean, when the feathers are many, then that's a male. When the feathers are a bit smaller, then it's probably a female. So if you try to look at them, they have a lot of predators, ranging from wild cats, wild dogs, martial eagle, which is the largest eagles that can predate amongst them. But they also have a small defending mechanism, because they are not good flyer, and you cannot fly against a flyer predator. Most of them, they hide themselves inside some dicky, bushy areas, and they make some different characteristics of noises just to inform others. Most of the time, they like staying with the monkeys, probably because monkeys stays on top of the trees. So the monkeys alert them of the predators, because there are these other, like the owls, they feed on the small infants of the monkeys, so they inform them of them.
So we can say they cohabit.
They cohabit with the others.
With the monkeys.
Yes. But now you see that relationship between the environment and the wild, we normally call them the Gaia hypothesis, because we are sharing that particular environment, helping each other to survive, but the environment will still have to balance. So it does not mean they will not be predated, they will be predated for the environment to balance. You find also they are not good runners, they are not good flyers, I mean, they are good runners. So they cannot fly for very long, they cannot fly from long distance. So you find that maybe in Europe you cannot get them, because they cannot fly here from Africa to Europe, because they are not the white stock. Because the white stock are the most spectacular flyers. They can fly from Europe to Africa.
And
but for
still one family with the guinea fowl. Sorry.
No, they are not the same family. But I'm just trying to say, those are the best flyers. These maybe are among the poor flyers.
Okay.
So their characteristics just running.
So they run fast.
They run fast. So that now in guinea fowls, I think for all guests that will be interested in research about the guinea fowls, whatever they eat, whatever their characteristic is, I don't think you should go to Shaba National Reserve, which is around 350 kilometers away from the city of Kenya. I think you should just visit Stedmak. We have the 2 species of guinea fowl that we have in African continent. I think you should just come to Stedmak, study, know the characteristics, know the difference between the guinea fowl and the helmeted guinea fowl. So I don't think there is a need of going to Shaba or maybe to Masai Mara, because of course, just visit Stedmak and see the guinea fowls, research on the guinea fowls. We are open to help any guest that is coming, just on research on birds, among the other animals that we may have in our park.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have said today we have looked into the Vulturine Guinea fowl.
Yes.
Vulturine Guinea fowl.
Yes.
So, and you have said we have 2 types.
Yes.
So we have the Vulturine Guinea fowl and the
Helmeted guinea fowl.
helmeted guinea fowl. So we can say next clip as we're going to release, we're going to look into the
Helmeted guinea fowl.
And you have said they have different characteristics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is up for today. What are your parting shots? What are your final words as far as the Vulturine Guinea fowl is concerned? What would you say are your final words for the Vulturine Guinea fowl?
What I can say about the Vulturine Guinea fowl, it's just a social bird that can live with the others.
So it can live even with chicken and...
It can live with the chicken. You see it is living with the Uganda cranes here. So it's just a social bird. But most of the time, if you look at them, most of the birds are just social birds, because they depend.
It feeds on what specifically?
In the wild, you see it feed on small insects, small stones. But now here, because the bird is in captivity, you see we are feeding them with the chicken mash. So that's why I'm saying it's just a social bird, because even the normal chicken, we give them chicken mash. So So even here we are giving them chicken mash. But most of the time you see them feeding on grasses, maybe just the way we say you should eat a balanced diet in human being. So even them, they are just eating their balanced diet. Yes, that is what I can say about the in conclusion about the Vulturine Guinea Fowl. I've said also it's the most intelligent guinea fowl amongst the fowls. So it's among the most intelligent one.
Okay. And you're telling us that if someone wants to get this kind of exposure, the best place to come is at Stedmak Gardens.
The best place is to come is at Stedmak, because one important thing about Stedmak, you can see an animal in a close range. So maybe you go to Shaba expecting to see a Vulturine Guinea Fowl, you can see it in miles, because you drive closer, they fly away. So in Stedmak you can see them in a closer range, you can hold them, look at their plumage, check whether birds have teeth or do not have teeth. So in Stedmak, I think this is the best place you can see and study and research on birds. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Farini. We are doing more on the wildlife and nature here at Stedmak Gardens, and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more information and for more updates. Asanteni sana. We cannot wait to see you at Stedmak Gardens Animal Park Sanctuary, having one of our own, Mr. Saruni, just take you through all the kind of wildlife animals that we have at this place. Asanteni sana. See you on our next show. Thank you very much.
Asante, karibuni Stedmak.